Hi guys, good morning. Welcome to Engelgeist. This is Daniel. Welcome to my channel. You've noticed we have two new friends in the camera. We have our little rose quartz angels that have come to visit because I feel like there is such a focus on love this week with Sunday's reading. I feel like they need to be present today. They're seated in front of those crystal towers to help imbue those crystal towers with that sort of heart emanation love, right? And so they are here to watch over this week's forecasts and help to imbue love and a heart-centeredness into all of us as we work our way through this week and the events of what's going on in the world, okay? So that's why you're seeing our little friends there. Just as a little aside, I felt inspired to bring them over from the fireplace. There's a third one over there at the fireplace, but he's like, I'm cool, I'm gonna chill over here, you just take those two. So they're here. If we need the third one, if the cards start to show me that you guys are screwing shit up and we need the third one, I'll bring them over tomorrow. But I don't think you are. I'm just kidding. For those of you that are new to the channel, welcome. For those of you that are returning, welcome back. We do have our sage burning right now, so this is a safe space for not only here in this actual physical space, but also over this internet broadcast or this video broadcast. For those of you that subscribe at my Patreon channel, thank you very much for doing that. The monthly subscriptions help me out. They keep sort of me, working and getting paid for what I do. If anybody's interested in supporting that, please feel free to go over to patreon.com and look up my page, Engelgeist333. You do get the daily forecast a day in advance, and you also have other sort of messages and card readings and things like that are special only to that channel. So those people, I shouldn't say those people, my subscribers over there, help to let me realize that this dream and this business is real, and that people value my work, and they help to keep the content free for the rest of you. So if you guys are into this content, you could certainly send some love to my Patreon subscribers in the chat boxes, because without them, it would make it much harder to be able to afford to do this every day for free. For those of you that don't have money and can't subscribe to Patreon, which is fully acceptable, your returned viewership is just as important and just as exciting and exhilarating to me. A like, a share, a comment, a subscribe. If you do hit subscribe either at the Facebook business page or on YouTube, helps me greatly. Hit the notification bell so that you're notified when I go live. That way you can be in attendance of the live events when I do card pulls and charmings and things like that. And if you want to follow me on Instagram at Engelgeist333, you can certainly do that too. That's another way to support me and follow me and just kind of know what's going on. Although Instagram, I'm still learning, I'll be honest, so I'm not the best Instagrammer. This is your daily forecast for Tuesday the 17th of March. Now this is a message from Spirit for the highest good for the greater collective. So this message may ring true to you, it may not. It might show up in your feed a few days later or maybe months later. That doesn't necessarily mean that the message is still no longer valid. It might be now time for you to hear this message, so please don't turn this off. I believe that Spirit has a way of sort of signifying or getting us into the right place at the right time to hear what we need to hear. So just because it may not be the date that this was originally filmed for, does not necessarily mean that the message is no longer valid, okay? So there's that. Beyond that, let's get started and see what's going on in our forecast. What do we want to focus on today? For Tuesday the 17th. We've had some really beautiful, interesting cards this week, especially amidst the chaos of what's going on in our outside world. And I really feel like, as I'm shuffling these cards and as I'm reflecting upon the readings of this week so far, I really feel like we're being presented with a choice. That we are being asked to consciously choose where we put our attention and how we choose to put our attention. Do we choose to put it in judgment, we choose to put it in fear? Do we choose to put it in negativity? And not even being aware of it. Sometimes we can be negative in an effort to protect ourselves. And we don't realize that we're protecting ourselves from a place of fear. And really what ends up happening in that fear, and I do this myself all the time, is I'll get into that fear space of being fearful and trying to protect myself from getting hurt or from getting damaged or experiencing something I don't want to experience. And what usually ends up happening is I bring that experience right to me. So what that says to me, or one way of looking at that, is that we are extremely powerful creators, and that our emotions can be also extremely powerful creation tools, right? They energize sort of our feelings and our thoughts, and they push that out into the world or into the universe, and the universe brings it back to us, you know, as long as we're in line and allowance for it. So if we're expecting something to be fearful about, or something to be upset about, or something to be annoyed about, more than likely we're going to find ourselves in that place. Now, these cards to me, especially with Sunday's broadcast, if you didn't see it, they were definitely based in love and the energy of the sun and the card of the lovers and the two of cups. And it's a very, very much a powerful, how do I want to say this? A powerful love reading in the sense of not only building bonds with those around us in our community around us, but also within ourselves. And so this is a conscious choice right now during a very trying time. How do we choose to respond? And whichever way we choose to respond, by the midweek, that sun card is there to energize those responses and make them very, very real for us. So keeping that in mind, let's see what's going on for this Tuesday. Three of Swords. Let me just see this for a second. Okay, I'm gonna say this. Last week we had the Five of Swords, which it's very similar in design, except in the center of the design there was a rose that was being pinned down by three swords. I feel like this is strength of mind right out of the gate when I look at it. I feel like this is shoring up our intelligence or our logic, trying to remain safe. These two swords on either side here to me feel very almost defensive in a way, almost like we need to sort of draw boundaries and get clear on our boundaries and also be sort of unbudging. I don't feel a lot of fluidity with this card. I feel more like this is a card of insecurity. I feel like this is a card of sort of not wanting to work with what's going on outside of us. It feels like it's, like I just said, not budging. It is an effort to keep ourselves safe, right? It is an effort to sort of protect this center sword or what we know to be true. But this web in the background speaks to me about the idea of being caught up in our own, maybe our fear, maybe our worry, maybe our self-doubt. And I have to reiterate this with this card. It feels to me like there is this opportunity where we think we're trying to do the right thing. We think we're trying to protect ourselves. We think we're trying to draw clear boundaries and be like, no, do not overstep this, please. This is my space. This belongs to me. And I believe in boundaries. Don't get me wrong, right? I think that clear, healthy boundaries are a good thing. But when I look at this swords card, these swords being so big on the outside with the blades outturned to the outer world, feels like we are in defense. That we are approaching the world from a sort of defensive, a defensive stance, right? In an effort to protect ourselves from maybe what might be going on around us. Now, this could be on a broader spectrum with like what's going on politically and, media-wise. We could be doing this to sort of, make logic or sense out of what's going on, but what it's actually doing is it's putting us into kind of like painting us into a corner and putting us into a place of fear, but on a more micro level versus macro level, right? On a more personal level, this could be us sort of steering clear of friendships, relationships, things where we felt like we've been hurt by the past. Now, I don't think that that's necessarily the wrong thing to do. What I do think is what this card is telling us, or what I feel like this card is saying to me, is what are our motives for doing that? And I pause there because I want you to think about that question. Are you truly drawing those boundaries out of love for yourself and love for the other individual? Or are you drawing those boundaries out of frustration with that individual and a fear that if I don't protect myself, they will hurt me again? There's a difference in the energy there. Do you see that, guys? So, like, if we're drawing the boundaries, I don't think that the boundary drawing is the bad thing, right? It's our intentions. It's what's behind those thoughts that causes us to drive those boundaries, to set those boundaries in place. Are we setting them from a place of fear? Are we setting them from a place of aggression? Are we setting them from a place of resistance? Are we setting them from a place of annoyance? Are we fearing that if we don't set them, we won't be safe? That's this web that I feel like is caught up in the background here, that this spider is sort of spinning. And I actually think, I have to say this spider is our friend. He's spinning this web to catch us in it so that we can see it. So that we can, webs are sticky and disgusting, or not disgusting, I shouldn't say, but they're sticky and kind of annoying, right? And they get us caught up and trapped. But a web can easily be pushed away. Right? Ultimately, we are stronger than the web that we weave, so to speak. So keeping that in mind, I would be very clear on this Tuesday, especially with all of this love energy and what we're energizing with that sun in the midweek from the Sunday forecast. Why are we drawing the boundaries that we're drawing? What are the thoughts that we're having, and what are they creating? What sort of emotional creation are they having within us? Are we creating these thoughts and boundaries from a place of, if I don't do it, somebody's going to hurt me. If I don't do it, I'm not going to get what I want. If I don't do it, my situation is going to lack in some sort of way. Because I feel like that's sort of the energy of this card. We think that we're doing it to keep ourselves safe. I mean, this could be that whole idea, and I hate to bring it back to what's going on globally right now, but this could be that whole idea of that sort of self-quarantine idea, right? Are we self-quarantining ourselves out of this, like, immobilizing fear that, oh my God, I don't want to get caught up in the web of the craziness that I see in the media right now? That's like a big macro version of what I see this card to be. On a more micro scale, like on a more personal environment for each of my viewers, where is it in your life? Is there a relationship? Is there a job? Is there a financial situation that, because you are so resisting it in such a way that the best way that you know to keep centered and grounded is to draw these big boundaries that are like almost, I don't want to say threatening, but like do not cross kind of. These blades on either side really speak, with the blade side out, really speak to me that like it's a definitely defensive card. And I would check where our defenses truly lie. Are they based in fear, or are they based in sort of self-preservation from a place of acceptance and healing? There's a difference in the energy, guys. And I'm just here to point that out for you. Some of you might be doing this from a place of self-acceptance and healing, and that's great. More power to you. I really hope that's the case. But that web behind it makes me think that the majority of you may not be. And the majority of you might be thinking that you're doing it for the right reasons. And this goes, I've got to say this too. This goes for like, look at what you're doing. Look at what you're believing this week. Look at what you're posting on Facebook. Are you promulgating fear? Are you promulgating discord? Are you promulgating ideas that sort of create more fear in others by just posting a simple meme? Are you posting the things that validate your resistance to what's going on in your immediate world? Are you posting situations or phrases or, man-made memes by some guy in a basement that speak directly to your lack? Because what you're doing is not only are you putting that message out there in validation of your experience and creating more of that experience for yourself, but you're also setting somebody else up to see that, and maybe they feel the same way and they start to relate to it and they start to sink down into their own boundaries and webs and get stuck. Keep that in mind today, people. I want to say that this card also says to me that we're smarter than this, we're stronger than this. There's a lot of strength in this card, and there's also a lot of intelligence in this card. But there might be, with that web and that spider at work, there might be an opportunity here to see an area where we may be fooling ourselves or convincing ourselves we're doing the right things. But the reasons, if we dig a little bit deeper into the emotional aspect of whatever it is we're thinking and how we're using our thoughts, we're going to find that we're actually more fear-based and more defensive and more trying to push things away than we really need to be. Okay? Let's see what the universe has your back has to say. I don't want you guys to lose sight of the video from Sunday. The video from Sunday was an extremely beautiful video. Wow. Attack, pain, fear, judgment, and any form of separation are merely calls for help. So, I think that this card definitely ties in with this Three of Swords. Like I said, the Three of Swords feels like we're drawing up boundaries that maybe we don't even really need. We're getting ourselves stuck in our own minds, in our own situations. We're approaching things from a place of resistance or, attack, pain, fear, judgment, and any form of separation, right? We're trying to keep ourselves safe. I mean, there is this whole new concept of social separation right now to keep ourselves safe, and I think that that's okay. I'm not saying not to do that. I'm not a doctor. I'm not the CDC. But what I am saying is there are ways to go about doing that with a whole, full heart that allows us to do it from a place of love and not from a place of fear or pain or worry or blame or it's this person's fault or it's China's fault or it's the Democrats' fault or it's Trump's fault. Whatever it is, it's the situation we're in right now. And the thing is that as a collective group of human beings, we are all in this situation together. So we get to choose, how do we operate within this situation? Do we operate from this place of building this web around us and getting caught in it and being in fear? Putting our blades out to the world and saying, don't overstep my bounds, leave me the fuck alone? Or do we actually acknowledge the fact that we're feeling scared? Do we acknowledge the fact that we're feeling, what's the word I want to look for, like overwhelmed? And the funny thing is when I look at this Three of Swords, it doesn't feel like we're as overwhelmed as we think, in the sense that we have the strength, we have the intelligence. But if we were utilizing it sort of like, I want to say in a more appropriate manner or open manner, we don't necessarily have to experience all of this pain, this fear, this judgment, and this separation that I see in this second card here. To me, this card looks like it's almost crying. Like, to me, this is like the universe or the stars, and where we all sort of connect into one another at a spiritual basis, and we're funneling it down to this thin stream. And I think that these cards actually say to me that there's more of us that are more scared than we're willing to admit. And maybe our day-to-day lives don't allow us to have that fear, so we have to take on the bravado of this Three of Swords, right? And push through and be strong and force ourselves to, maintain our space. Or I'm not saying don't maintain your space, guys, but it's all about the energy with which you do it. And if you're focusing on the attack, the pain, the fear, and the judgment, or any form of separation, it's just merely a call for help. And what's gonna answer that call is more feelings of being attacked, more feelings of pain, more feelings of fear, all of those situations. You know why? Because it's trying to help us from stopping doing this fucking behavior. And I'm saying fucking behavior because I'm just as guilty of it as the next person. So the grounding stone, this is the thought to ground in for the day. This is hilarious. Is joy. Whoops. Stay up there, Joy. We need you, bitch. Now, Sundays, excuse me. Sunday's Universe Has Your Back card was Joy is the ultimate creator, guys. And we're being reminded again through this grounding stone that joy really is the antithesis or the counterpart to not slipping into these sort of fears, these sort of worries, this sort of defensive mode during this time. We need to find the small joys. We can self-separate or self-quarantine and take care of ourselves and still love our brother man, still support our brother man, not necessarily sit online and spend the day trying to look at false media or find reasons for why I have to stay home today and what pisses me off about that. Do you see what I'm saying? And if we're doing that in smaller aspects of our lives, like within our relationships, our friendships, our work relationships, whatever they may be, we need to seek out the joy in those situations. However small we may find it at first, as we seek it out and we look at it and we ground in it, we begin to build it, it starts to shift. These swords will start to spread apart, the web starts to fall away, we start to realize we have the strength of this up-pointed sword and the intelligence and the capability to protect ourselves no matter what, but we don't have to do it from a place of resistance or defense or fear. That is your forecast for the day. I've gone a little long on this forecast, I'm sorry, but I think that these forecasts this week are actually really important, especially what's going on globally in the world. So please focus on joy this day. And also this joy comes in sort of doubly important because that Sunday's card was joy as the ultimate creator. It's a reminder. We need to find as much joy within ourselves and within our immediate world right now and relish in that, focus on that and perpetuate that to sort of, I think, honestly reset the planet and the craziness that's going on around us. Don't give in to the pain, don't give in to the fear, don't give in to the judgment. Because it's merely just another call for help that nobody's going to answer. Nobody's coming to help you other than yourself. Alright, I love you guys. I hope this makes sense. I hope this is not too much of a bummer of a reading, but I think that it's needed to be heard today. And I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. Please tune in. Thank you all for coming back. Please give me a like, a share, a comment, a subscribe. If you hated this reading, subscribe and let me know that. Tell me, I think that's a bunch of bullshit. But that's your Three of Swords energy. I'm telling you that. Alright, you guys. Thank you for tuning in. I love you all. Have a great day. Please be in joy today. And be aware of where your thoughts are at and how they separate you from others. Bye-bye.